Hey, hey, I don't know on which headphone I am now in. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Ah, okay, yeah. Because I'm calling now from the tablet, which I haven't used ever before for Zoom, so it took some time. Because I don't know, the laptop is, oh, well, now it kind of went black, so maybe I can dial in from the laptop soon. Are we the only ones? Yeah, I just see two participants.
Yes, yes, you're the only one for the moment. Jimmy sent an email saying that he will join the afternoon session, but I see we now have Masahiro-san. Hello.
はい、
こんにちは。
こんにちは。
Hello. So, so let's discuss the latest news. So the main information is that now the document has been officially approved by OpenChain. So we still have it stored on the uh, OpenChain Telco GitHub repository, but now Shane has also put a copy in the OpenChain reference manual directory. And also, the new thing is that we now have Chinese translation. Um, so we have now a free translation, Japanese, French, and Chinese. The English version being the reference. So that is the status of the document. What I wanted to share today is something a bit different. Recently, I have been informed that a German federal office has created an SBOM document.
Like, maybe just a question, like,
Yes,
because now you mentioned that there's a copy
yes,
of the SBOM guide,
yes.
and will that then be, let's say, static copy, and then like whatever we had in telco working group, that's let's say kind of put like the version 1.0 is untouched, and then we will start to work on 2.0 or whatever version it will be. Do we want to keep these two copies, or just like, I don't know, to put the telco version as I don't know,
I-
archive version or something like that, archive that, so that we are not by accident editing anything in a wrong place.
Yes, the version in the reference material should not be modified,
Yeah,
except perhaps if we find a typo or a broken
yeah,
link or something, but this should not be touched. And yes, if we plan to do a version 1.1 or 2.0, we will do it. We will do it here. I will, if we make modification, I will change the title to draft again and change
yeah,
the number in
yeah,
in our telco work group GitHub.
yeah, makes sense. Thanks.
Okay, yes. So as I said, what I have been recently informed of is that the German have produced a document about SBOM, and I wanted to show it to you to see what differences they have with what we have done. So it's called Part 2 Software Bill of Materials. There is a Part 1 which is not yet available. So the purpose of this work is, as it is said, cyber resilience. So it's linked to the CRA. But this document describes what an SBOM is and what it should contain. So it was first published last year in July in German, and it was translated in English in November last year. So it's a relatively recent document. I have put the link in the invite, and I will put it in the minutes also. They here it's the introduction. They define what an SBOM should be. So what they say here, if I summarize what is important in this introduction, is that they say that the SBOMs can be used and should be used for security, but the SBOM should not contain the security information. It should not contain the vulnerabilities. They say that, and I really agree with that, they say that an SBOM is a static document that describes the state of the software at a certain point that should not change. And the vulnerabilities are discovered from over time, and so if they are added in the SBOM would not longer be static. So the SBOM should be used to describe the software, and this information will be used to relate to vulnerabilities, but should not contain them. So they use the same formula from RFC 2119. So they define here what is an SBOM. It should be machine processable, and it must contain certain minimum information, which will be described later. They say that an SBOM must be generated for each software version, and as it was said in the introduction, it doesn't contain the vulnerability information.
A question, like, because I'm not that familiar with Cyclone DX, but basically Cyclone DX, it has this vulnerability information section there, but is that mandatory or kind of non-mandatory in the Cyclone format?
Yes, I'm also not TypeDX expert. Yes, SPDX was first started for mostly for license compliance.
Yeah.
And Cyclone DX was more concentrating on vulnerabilities. I don't know if the vulnerability information is really mandatory there. What they say here in this document is that PSBOM must be in one of the two formats, Cyclone DX and SPDX, and they also require a minimum version of the standard. For SPDX, it's version 2.3. In the OpenChain Telco, we mandate SPDX, and we allow SPDX 2.2 or 2.3.
Yeah, with the current version.
Yeah, and here they say or higher. For Cyclone DX, yes, there is at least 1.5.
I think it's 1.6 now is the latest version of Cyclone.
Yes, perhaps I'm. Yeah, probably. For SPDX, they say or higher, so that will include SPDX 3, but well, it's SPDX 3.0 has been published, but it is still not widely used. Okay, so now do we?
Because I'm just thinking that this document, because now it says Cyclone or SPDX, and if Cyclone would have mandatory vulnerability information included in the SBOM, discussed that Cyclone DX came more from the managing SBOM or managing vulnerabilities, and SPDX came from license compliance. So it would then kind of contradict that the document says that vulnerability information should not be part of the part of the SBOM, and then I guess that then the Cyclone DX it's not mandatory feature of the SBOM either, but because otherwise it wouldn't be possible to have it there.
Yeah, I need. Yes, I don't know Cyclone DX enough to answer now, but I will check. I have what I've done. I've tested some tools that convert SPDX to Cyclone DX or the other way around. So yes, I have converted some SPDX files that did not, of course, contain vulnerabilities to Cyclone DX, and well, it worked. So I suppose it's not it's not really mandatory, but I will check again. So here in chapter 5 in this document we have the content that is required. So they require information about the creator, and they require the email of the creator or a URL. and they require the timestamp when the SBOM was created. So for the components, they require a component creator, also an email address or a URL, component name and version, and dependencies. So we have the component name and the component version. We don't really have the component creator.
Yep. Package URL is kind of URL.
Yes. Yes, so what is very detailed here is the license information they require. Here they require to use SPDX license identifiers. What is interesting also is that the SPDX license list has many licenses, but not all. And here they require to use the scan code license database. Scan code is a tool provided by a company NextB. It's an fully open source software, and well, we are using it at Nokia. And scan code has created a database of thousands of licenses, which some of all the this database contains, of course, all the SPDX licenses, but many more. And so it's interesting that they require to use these identifiers. And then they explain in detail that the SPDX syntax should be used in case you have multiple licenses. You should use the SPDX operators. What is not mentioned about licenses is that they do not make the distinction that exists in SPDX. That is, SPDX defines a declared license and a concluded license, and this is not described here. They only say that you should provide a license. So I would say it is probably the concluded license, but as I said, it's not mentioned at all here.
Yeah, like if thinking that you have license A or license B, then you can choose. And then actually there's a question, like if you go a little bit up again, like scroll, like here, I don't know, like they talk about Annex D. If I haven't checked, but are these annexes in the same order? For example, in SPDX, 2.3 than they were in SPDX 2.3?
No, the annexes. The list of annexes is not the same, and I'm not sure. Okay. Let me check. No, I'm not sure that it is. Okay, I'm just checking the cell of Annex B.
Because Annex B, Annex D, at least
Yeah.
I see here.
Yeah.
And like, do we know who wrote this document in Germany?
Federal Office for Information Security.
But do we know if somebody from that office is participating, for example, some of the OpenChain? Because we could give some feedback as well. That hey, by the way.
Yeah. I have no contact. I have no contact.
Yeah.
But I can check.
Because from Deutsche Bahn, there are like some people on some of the calls, but I can't remember like from the German federal offices. I can't recall any names or anybody.
So yes, I have the answer to your question. So in SPDX3, Annex B is not the same.
Yeah.
In SPDX3, Annex B is called Getting Started with Writing SPDX3. So it's a help thing. For Annex D, for Annex D in SPDX3, it is the SPDX license expression.
Yeah.
So if I go back, yes, Annex D, yes. So the Annex D
So that's the same.
Is the same, but the Annex B is not the same. We have they have a bit change also the content, because in SPDX2 the list of licenses was in the spec, and now in SPDX3 it is no longer part of the specs, because it's the list of licenses is evolving. They issue a new release once or twice per year, so they decided to put it outside of the spec,
which makes sense.
Yeah. So they require a hash of the component, which is reasonable also. And then there are additional fields, and this seems a bit strange for me, because, well, what seems strange to me is that they use the word must. The following information must be provided, but they say if it exists. So it's not really mandatory. And yes, it contains the source code, which we do not have in our document, and which we do not provide. So that's the yes, and yes, here they say the components can be identified by CPE or Perl.
Yeah.
And well, I was checking the other day. There is a tool that exists to convert CPE to Perl. It's provided.
Okay.
It's provided by the company that makes ScanOSS. They have built a huge database that contains equivalence between CPE and Perl, and so there is a script that they provide that can convert from one to the other. So that's the end of the requirements. After that, there are some annexes that give definitions. Um, and here, the last part, they give some explanations, some definitions on the scope of the SBOM, what it should contain. I'm not sure all these details are needed, but what they represent here is that the blue round is an internal component of the software. The blue squares are external components, and the white squares are external components that are not delivered. So they define the top level SBOM, which is the main component plus the first level, the direct dependencies.
Yep.
Then they define the same thing, but at a certain number of levels. So the top level SBOM is one level SBOM, and you can go as many levels as you want. Then they have a definition of a transitive SBOM. So here you have the primary component, and you go down recursively until you go until you reach an external component. So you provide the you stop going down when you get an external component. So you include the first external components, but not their dependencies. Then they defined a delivery item SBOM. So here you have you provide the SPOM for all components that you deliver.
Well, why do they have these white squares in? Because that's outside of the scope of delivery in this SBOM. So I don't know if there's some error in this picture. I don't know if it's some testing, who knows what libraries there or which are not part of the delivery. I don't.
Yes. This one is a bit complexity.
The first component which is outside of the scope of the delivery.
It
Okay.
includes the
Why?
first. Yes. It's a bit strange, but it includes the first component outside the scope of the delivery, and then you have the complete SBOM.
Yeah.
Which this one is simple. It contains every recursive dependencies.
Yeah.
So well.
Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe there's some reason why, for example, some testing components are part of the SBOM, even though they are not part of the delivery. I don't know. It doesn't hurt, but I don't know if it's just making more noise in the SBOM as well. Somehow, that's my feeling. But maybe there's a good reason for that.
Yes, and then they describe the types of SBOM, which is a copy of what CISA has produced, and what they recommend in the document previously is to provide the build SPOM.
Yeah.
Don't remember.
Which I think today is quite a common recommendation to provide the build SBOM.
Okay, and lastly, if we go to the end of the document, they give the URLs for the SBOM recommendations from both NTIA and CISA.
Yeah. Well, it's not a bad document, Maybe some little additional clarifications there, but
yeah, it's interesting. From what I understand for the moment, it's not a document that is enforceable.
Yeah.
It's more a recommendation or a descriptive document.
And is it for the Germany federal offices or what's kind of the scope, or is it like industry in general in Germany or just like federal offices? Do you know?
No.
Or state, because I don't know how they are called in Germany. I think they're states. But yeah, it's good start. Let's say so.
Yeah, it's.
And what's your feeling? Do you think that, let's say, version 1.1 of the telco recommendation, should we take some features from this document, or what's your feeling?
Yes, it might. We can probably use part of the document to make addition. As I already said several times, my concern now is to have a stable version 1.0 of our document, to make some advertisement about it, and to get feedback from users before hurrying to create a new a new version. We really need to get practical feedback to produce a new version. We have at Nokia we have started putting it into use.
Okay.
And well, we'll see in the next month if it works as expected.
Yeah, because it would be interesting to, like you said, to get some feedback from the suppliers, and like, are they in big trouble providing such SBOM, or is it easy peasy for them? And yeah, like, or is it, I don't know, something that is causing more trouble than some other piece there? Like, that would be, at least to know, I think, interesting feedback that could and should be gathered before going to the next version. But the thing is that, the whole SBOM thing, it's still, it's like moving target somehow to aim at, because now we have SPDX 3 that came out, I don't know, 2 months ago, and Cyclone DX, I think they're at least planning to have release every year, like new specification release every year. So, and I don't know, the VEX is coming, and who knows what's the next new thing there. So a lot of new things. And I think this recommendation needs to be somehow not too descriptive, that there's, and of course, companies, they can take the specification and then add their own additional requirements for the suppliers.
Yes, well, for me, what is important is to get quality SBOM, whatever the format. For me, we should not necessarily run after the next version of standards, but more concentrate on the fact that the SBOMs are complete, that they provide only exact information and so on.
Yep.
And that's that for the moment a complex task.
Indeed. Yeah, I guess I have mentioned that, in my previous job, I did this little SBOM tool review and yeah, the results were not as, I was fairly disappointed what I saw, let's say so, that the quality of the SBOM and what was provided in the SBOMs, coming from different tools, it was quite far from what I was kind of expecting. And there were obvious errors there as well. In especially if there was more than one license for a package. It's not like everything was wrong, but quite a few times they got the licensing information wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like lot of fields there were like nothing there, which was a bit odd. That like even just the URLs they were missing, or the Perl, it was not there, and maybe there was the component name and version, but that's it, and then license, but the license already could be wrong.
Okay. Masahiro-san, any comment, any question?
Sorry, today I catch a cold a little bit, so I can't speak. Sorry. So
Okay.
anyway, so I will try to advertise this new document, Telco document. So after that, I will, if I have some feedback, I will share that feedback.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Domo.
Thank you.
But yeah, this is for the afternoon call. I won't be calling. I'm most likely in a train to go back to the mountains. But if you have some good comments from Jimmy and others, it would be great to see those as well.
Yeah, I
But,
will. I will send my notes
yeah,
in the mailing list.
okay.
Okay, so thank you for joining, and talk to you later.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur. Au revoir.
Au revoir, goodbye.
Bye bye.
So hello, Aline. Let's wait.
Hello.
Let's wait one more minute to see if others join.
Okay.
Okay, so let us start. So what is new is that now the OpenChain Telco SBOM guide is officially approved as an OpenChain document. So it has been copied to this location, so OpenChain project reference material. And now I have just received also a Chinese translation. So apart from the English version, which is the reference one, we now have French, Japanese, and Chinese version. So that is a reference document. In the GitHub where we created the document, there is still the copy left, and when we will develop a next version, we will do it here. But for the moment, it is not planned to have a new version. What we would like to do now is to promote this guide, make it into use, and get feedback from users, from our customers when we provide SBOMs that is conformant to the guide, and when requiring from our suppliers conformance to the guide. So let's see how it is used. The second thing I wanted to mention is that I was recently aware that in Germany they have created a document which is a technical guideline for a software bill of materials. So this document was created in Germany last year. First, there was a German version, and after that, an English translation. So before going to this guide, there is a summary or presentation of this guide that is available on the CISA website. So, as the title says, this document was created in Germany in the context of the European Union CRA, the Cyber Resilience Act. So they explain what the CRA is and what are the implications on SBOM. So this technical guideline is a document that is a recommendation, but it is not mandatory. I will show the document in a minute. So in summary, they recommend to provide a build SBOM. That is an SBOM that is created at build time. CISA has a list of different kind of SBOMs. What they recommend is to provide the SBOM that is created at build time, and they allow both SPDX and CycloneDX formats. So they are preparing a new version, the version 2, and they provide a means to send feedback on the document. So if we go in the document itself, in the introduction, they explain what is an SBOM and the context. What they also recommend here is that the SBOM should be something static, in the sense that it should not change. When you build the software, you create the SBOM, and the SBOM should not change until you recreate a new release of the software. So this means that the SBOM should not contain vulnerability information, because the SBOM that describes the software should be static, while the vulnerabilities will be found after new vulnerabilities might be found after the build is done and the SBOM is created. So the SBOM should be the starting point to find the vulnerabilities by comparing the SBOM with vulnerability databases, but the SBOM itself should not contain the vulnerability information. So what they allow as formats is both Cyclone DX and SPDX. So there are two differences with what we recommend. We only recommend SPDX, and we allow SPDX 2.2 and SPDX 2.3. So they allow only 2.3, not 2.2, and they allow also, they say, 2.3 or higher, so that would include SPDX3. SPDX3 has recently been published, but the tooling still has to be adapted or developed to handle SPDX3. So for the moment, in practice, this means SPDX 2.3. For Cyclone DX, they say version 1.4 or higher, as the latest version is 1.6 for Cyclone DX. So the chapter 5 of the document is the most technical. It gives the fields that are present in the SBOM. So as we said before, they say that the SBOM must be created during the build process. So it is a build SBOM in the CISA sense. So for the SBOM information, they require the creator of the SBOM and the time when it was created. So that is what is required by SPX and so by our guide. For components in SPDX and in our document, we call that packages, but this is same. This is the same thing. So for components, they require the name, version, creator, and dependencies. We require name, version, and dependencies, but not creator. What is very detailed in this document is the license part. They require that first licenses must be identified by the SPDX identifier. So SPDX has a list of more than 100 licenses that have an identifier, and they require to use this identifier. Even though it's an SPDX identifier, you can use it in Cyclone DX also. What is more original is that they require that if the license is not in the SPDX license list, they are required to use the scan code license database. Scan code is an open source tool to scan source code and find licenses in it, and they have created a list of licenses that is much bigger than the SPDX list. It contains, if I remember correctly, more than 3,000 licenses. And if there is a really exotic license, which is not found in SPDX license list or in scan code license database, you create your own identifier starting by license ref. And then they explain how to use the SPDX syntax in case of multiple licenses. So this is much more detailed than in our guide. The other difference is that they don't speak of declared and concluded licenses like it is defined in SPDX. They only have one kind of license, so this is probably the concluded license, but this is not mentioned. And lastly, they required a hash of the component. Then they list other information that must be added if it exists, which is information on the source code, where it is located, and the hash. And to identify the component, they recommend to use CPE, Common Platform Enumeration, or package URL or Perl. In our guide, we recommend Perl. I know there exists at least one tool to convert from one of these format to the other. It's provided by the ScanOSS project. So that is what they require in the content of the SBOM. They do not mention things that we have in our guide, such as signing the SBOM. So in the annex, they give some definitions that are used in the document. That's nothing original. And here they provide information on what they call the level of detail of an SBOM. What they distinguish here is external and internal components, and so internal components is what you create, and external components are components you use. Some of the external components might be delivered or not. So that is for the logic of the drawings. So the minimum SBOM is what they call the top level SBOM, which contains the primary component, the main component, and its direct dependencies. And then they define what they call the N-level SBOM, which is an SBOM that contains the primary component and n level of dependencies. Here you have two. Then they define what they call the transitive SBOM, which is a bit different. Here you have the primary components, the transitive dependencies of this primary component, and you stop after you have included one external component. You stop at the first level of the external component. Then you have what they call the delivery SBOM. There you start from the primary components, and you include everything you deliver up to the first outside component. And last is the complete SBOM, where you deliver everything recursively from the primary component, including all levels of outside components. I'm not sure why they have made all these distinctions. And last thing, they take the definition from CISA for the different kinds of SBOMs designed, source, build, analyzed, deployed, and runtime. But as we said, they recommend to provide a build SBOM. Okay, so I consider this document interesting. It was developed, we developed our own guide completely independently, but perhaps we can recommend them to have a look at our document and perhaps take some ideas from their document for a future version. Do you have a question on this document or on the telco SBOM as in general?
No, I think that it looks good. I will take a look at the document, and if I have questions, I will ask.
Okay, yeah, I will send my notes, and I have already put a link to the document in the meeting invite, and I will send it again in the minutes.
Thank you.
So at Sony, do you plan to use our guide for SBOMs, and how is it?
Sony is working with OpenChain, so yeah, that's all that I can say.
Okay. Yes, here, well, I'm from Nokia, and we are using the OpenChain Telco SBOM guide as a basis for our SBOM recommendation. Okay, so if you have no other questions, we can close the call, or do you want to add something?
We can close the call since it's just you and me, and hopefully next week there will be more people for next meeting.
Next month, yeah,
Yeah.
It's a monthly call.
True.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for joining, and let's meet again later.
Super. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.